You know what I loved seeing is I like man, it is it's probably cliche to say this, but it's just stunning to get traces of what people were doing during COVID. And you see it in a good way when you watch like fights and stuff without the commentary and without the audience and you hear the impact of the punches. You remember those? You ever see that? Okay. Can you look up
Like street fights or UFC
no,
fights?
look up boxing without audience during COVID.
Whoa.
But this feels like it was 30 years ago, man. This is what punches from heavyweight boxers sound like. There you go.
I've heard that. Oh God. The hardest punch I've ever heard was from a girl. I was at a boxing match, like a low end one, and this fucking broad just rocked this other broad, and I was like right front center, and it was like ha 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 ha, pop, like and her fucking the girl just like dropped, and I was like, oh my God,
It's got a scary sound to it.
Never boxing ever.
Can you look up MMA without fans?
Oh, you mean? Oh, yeah.
Like during COVID.
I remember. Okay, now I know what you're
exactly.
talking about. Okay.
Getting little remnants of this type of stuff. Yeah, right there, coldest knockouts.
God.
Ugh. Oh.
Did he get him in the ribs and knock him out?
Don't know. What the fuck?
Look at this guy. He looks like a human. Looks like someone bought him.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, you look like you would buy a guy.
It's Turkish health tourism. You go get that guy.
How much for him? I want to buy him.
I like that his feet are crossed.
I like that an Asian guy finally won a UFC fight.
The guy's Mongolian or something. Asians can fight.
No, I know, but they don't win too often. Their win rate is low.
Well, they're not in the UFC that often, but they win in Bellator and one sometimes, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I'm truly not trying to like knock it, but like when they come to the UFC, it's not a good bet to bet on the Asian guy.
Yeah, but I think that also might be a like a third world thing. Like people are always like, oh, if you go train in Thailand, those guys are tough motherfuckers, dude.
Yeah.
And then they come in the UFC and they just get their ass whooped.
They get eaten with a fork and knife.
Yeah. I think that's just because Americans are better, just because they're Americans. I don't necessarily think it's a genetic thing, because there are Japanese people who are real strong and there are Chinese people.
You don't think it's bone density?
I mean, there's bone density, but I think it's third world shit. Yeah. I think it's just that for the time being, nobody's as good as Americans.
Yeah.
Because of McDonald's chicken nuggets, which is what Usain Bolt ate when he was in the Chinese Olympics. Did you know that?
Really?
Hundreds of them only. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't know that.
Usain Bolt, when he went to China, because either him or his team didn't trust the food locally.
Yep, I wouldn't.
All he ate was McDonald's chicken nuggets.
Wow.
Hundreds and hundreds of them.
Yeah. Usain Bolt, though, has, from a sprinter and a runner standpoint, has incredible physical, like his shins and his thigh bones are long.
Sure, yeah.
Like he's got like Michael Phelps when you look at him.
Yeah.
No shit, he's smoking everybody.
Yeah,
like look at him. Like swimmers look like me. Like
I would just say that when it comes to fighting, those styles make fights, which is what people say that means that if you have even if you are like a huge genetically advantaged guy, there are styles that can beat your style.
Yes.
And it comes from a weird, like Mark Hunt. There are guys that look like they shouldn't be necessarily beating up guys that look like action figures. Yeah. And then a lot of there are more than enough examples of guys that look like action figures just fading in fights.
Yeah.
And
Mark Hunt comes from that bloodline, though. Those
fading like it's a child or something. Did you watch that? Who's that guy? Bekele, the new big Nick dude. Look up Bekele boxer. Like just spelled just like that. Just type boxer afterwards. He's just like a big chunky Nigerian dude, and he fights this guy that looks like an action figure, and he makes him look like a teenager,
like Anthony Ruiz.
Yes,
I love Anthony Ruiz. Yeah. He's like, he's smiling. He's like, yes, he fights.
So I don't know what it is, but I do know that just from grappling, doing jujitsu with Asians, there are guys who have like strange strength that you wouldn't necessarily expect. Yeah, and it's got something to do with the geometry of their body. It's not as simple as fast twitch versus slow twitch. No, it's also like most of the most of the levers in the, so you know when you're jacking up a car and you're like putting a little bit of force, but it's lifting up this heavy car.
Yeah,
That's
angles.
that's either a first or a second class lever, which is where the torque that you apply gets multiplied by the fulcrum. The levers in the body are the opposite because the force point is like right here, the fulcrum is right here, and then the lever arm is out here. So you have to apply a ton of torque, but what it does is it multiplies the speed, which is why it's when they're talking about how when tall guys lift, they lift less weight because they have a higher range of motion. They have to move more. That's not true. It's because they're at a mechanical disadvantage because the all those levers are third class levers, so they have to apply way more torque in order to express torque.
That means if the machines were centered around 6'3" people, they would look different.
Yeah.
Like angles would be different.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd be operating at like 15 and 17 or something. I don't know what they.
And there's like there's a sweet spot for everything. Like throwing a baseball, you want to be lanky, have long limbs, but not too long. Same thing with boxing. If your arms are too long, then you can get like out wrestled by a guy with more who's
like a Tyson,
who's stockier. Yeah, right. So anyway,
look, I mean, look, I love the Anthony Ruiz story.
Me too.
He looks like me.
And he's just great too.
He's just like got a good attitude about him too. He's got like I like his like displacement.
Yeah.
No, I mean, no, that's not the one. Disposition. There we go.
I love Anthony Ruiz. I think he's awesome.
Cool. Yeah. Is he jacked now? Did he get yanked up?
He's in much better shape. Yeah. Anthony Ruiz now. You could type Anthony Ruiz now. I mean, there's videos of him recently hitting pads, and he looks.
Look at him.
He just looks extremely dangerous.
Yeah, he looks good. Good for him.
He should go get hair plugs.
He should go to Turkey and get
$1,100. Go to Turkey.
Yeah,
live there.
I mean, it's amazing what $10 million will do to you. But I just have more respect for people when they get like jacked up.
But point being, I don't think. I think that fighting, especially MMA, because the thing about MMA is that there's so much more you can do. So not necessarily with boxing. With boxing, you have to use your arms and your hands. What's up, brother?
Cool? Yeah, you should show the camera.
Oh, nice.
Pretty cool.
His beeper.
Pretty cool. Pager. Pretty cool vape.
Ah, cool.
Chris.
That's a cool vapor.
Neat.
Vapor pen. Holy shit! Thanks. Where'd you get that?
The store.
Cool. From Grimes.
See you, Jet.
Have fun.
The with boxing, I think there is something. It's a limited art form. There's less you can do. Like if you encounter a guy that's a really good boxer and all you can do is box, you're in trouble. But if you can do leg kicks, then you're not so much in trouble. And with MMA, the meta is kind of always changing, which is one reason why it's less of a high art form, is because limitation is what breeds. Limitation is necessary to create great art. This is going to go down a rabbit hole here. Should I just shut up? I need more zen.
Yeah, I think the zen is working double time right now.
I'll rant, and you guys can just fast forward 20 minutes here, okay? So when I was in art school, Nick, do you remember?
Yep.
Chris, did you know that I went to art school?
Yeah, you went to RISD. Okay,
art school, total waste of time, waste of money, horrible place full of fags, etc. But I learned something, and this is important for anybody to know. When we were the way they used to edit film, they used to do it on a machine where you would you'd actually cut the film and you'd have to tape it together. And the machines we used were called Steenbeck machines. You can look this up. Steenbeck film editing machine, spell it however you want. Named after the famous film producer, Joel Steenbeck.
I wish it was just regular Beck, and it was like, cut the film, man. We do the monkey drop because it dropped the film drop or do wop stop.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know who it's named after, but
Jeff,
to make edits, you would have to actually cut the film, and so it took maybe 2 minutes to make a cut. So if you were going to cut together 10 shots, you'd be sitting there for fucking hours, man. Okay. And the byproduct of this is that when it is more difficult to do something, you think about it way more in a way that you possibly can't force yourself to do when you're sitting in front of a computer where you can make a cut in 7 seconds. Mm-hmm. Does this make sense?
Well, you're breaking it down to its fundamentals.
No. You are thinking deeply about the small thing that you're doing.
You're cutting a shot like a film negative sequence.
Yes.
And you're cutting the physical film.
Cutting the physical film.
And you're rebonding it.
You're cutting out this part. You're taking these two pieces and putting them together. It's the simplest thing. You've done it. You do it in Premiere, right?
Yep.
You're putting tape over it. But this process, it takes maybe 45 seconds if you're really good or something. I don't remember exactly how long it takes. But the thing is, though, because it takes so long, you don't want to fuck up. Okay, so you're actually, it's like almost like carpentry where it's measured twice, cut once.
Yeah, like Japanese
joinery. Nobody measures twice and cuts once on a digital, it's a DAW? No, it's not a DAW. That's for audio, right?
Audio, yeah.
It's what do they call these fucking things?
Video editing software? You want the actual...
What did they call video editing software when it first came out? Non-linear editing software. There was a name for it that has fallen out of use, but I don't want to forget what it was.
A VES.
Can you look? NLE, that's it, a non-linear editing system. So the non-linear editing systems, because they're so fast, you are not measuring twice and cutting once. You're just chopping it up and seeing how the slop looks afterwards, okay? So it's forcing you to think very deeply, not philosophically, but it's forcing you to actually think about what you're doing. Now, if you go over to car design, if anybody who has their eyes open wonders, why do cars look like shit?
Yeah.
And if you ever see, it's kind of hard to get the picture, because when you see like a big body Cadillac or something rolling around, they're usually in disrepair. They're usually a hoopty, and it's like, oh, look at that piece of shit. But when you see a nice one, it's like, holy shit, how have we fallen so far as a country that we're not producing these metallic, rolling pieces of art anymore?
Right.
And one of the reasons is all the safety stuff, and BMW and Mercedes are designing specifically for Chinese customers and stuff like that. Those are all a factor. But the biggest factor, there's two big factors, and they both play into this. One of them is, this is the nicotine, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 100% the nootropics.
It's a nootropic? Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
it is.
One of them is the changeover from drawing and clay modeling to computer-aided design. So if you have a giant clay model in front of you, you're going to try not to fuck that up.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
You're going to measure twice, you're going to cut once, you're going to take probably more time. You're probably going to look at it 10 times more. You're going to look at the clay model 10 times more and 10 times harder, because you know how costly it is to make another giant full-scale clay model. And they still do giant clay models, but they do this after the computer process nowadays. Back in the day, it was after the drawing process. When you're drawing, I mean, I don't even think I'm good enough of an artist to explain why drawing is superior for visualization than computers. But if you want to know this, if you want to know for yourself, if you want to experience this for yourself, there's a program you can download, ZBrush, and you can just look up ZBrush screenshots. And in ZBrush, you can, I don't even know how to use it. You can open this program immediately, click a few buttons, and make some shit that looks like something.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even know how to use it, but I know that if I open up ZBrush right now,
I can zombies.
I can make something that looks cool, and like you'll be like, whoa, that's weird and interesting, right?
Like a demonic fish from the sea?
Yes.
A sea creature of sorts from Bela Lugosi?
What if he's like an ancient sea pirate captain, but he carries samurai swords because of his time in Japan?
Maybe there were orcs in another dimension.
What if there's orcs living at the bottom of the ocean and they have gills? That would be badass. Gore. Okay. So you can open up ZBrush and make something cool. It's super easy for anybody that's even close to fluent in any 3D program to make a shape that looks aggressive. And you know, when people talk about cars, they go, oh, that's aggressive looking.
Yeah.
You've heard that. Nothing to do with beauty, nothing to do with righteous paying tribute to God, nothing to do with something that is geometrically appropriate. It's just aggressive looking. Can you type in aggressive looking car right now, Chris?
So
I can get mad and more mad.
To take a quick bullet point, what you're saying is anybody, like my wife, could make a Mitsubishi Lancer on Need for Speed Z that is respectable in 5 seconds, which is bastardizing the integrity of car design.
If any one of us
God, that's
I actually like that. That's the Mitsuoka. Mitsuoka. That's probably not designed.
I would beat that car with a baseball bat if I saw it.
Scroll up, Chris.
Don't ever let me be around that car, because
we will get
third
sued. Image there. Is that the Gumpert Apollo? which is actually doesn't piss me off that bad, but those are both fucking nasty.
I like the one on the right.
Let's do the Lamborghini Veneno, the Terzo
The gray
Millennio,
one.
the gray one lower right there. So this is this type of shit.
Yeah.
Any one of us, if we took 2 weeks to learn Blender or whatever, we could make something that's 40% of the way towards that.
Yep.
Okay, and then the extra 60% is just putting in the LED strips and the little LED projector lights and making the wheels have the ventilation on them and all that shit. It's just so far removed from what is a human creative process, which is visualizing in your mind versus when you visualize in the tool, which is the 3D design thing. What you're doing is you're letting the tool express itself. You're letting computers and 3D programs express their nature as opposed to you expressing your nature as a designer. Okay.
Yep.
The other thing that happened was the switch over from metal to plastic, and that is a similar thing. The way that materials express themselves in the world, they have, like, metal has a way that it wants to express itself, and it doesn't want to be formed into certain shapes. It's very difficult to form it into certain shapes. Plastic can be formed into anything.
Yeah.
So these angles here that any GM designer would look at this in the 60s and say, that's impossible. You could never make that because it would be impossible to get the tooling and make shapes like this. But you can do it in plastic, and that's not a good thing. It's the limitation that sets humans up to express themselves appropriately. I don't know, but I think there's a similar thing with boxing versus MMA, and I like watching MMA. It's interesting to watch, but you can counter a beautiful striker with grappling, for example. And if you watch Khabib fight, it's very ugly.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It's not even. I wouldn't even just to call it a martial art at that point. It's like hideous. Can you look up Khabib striking in YouTube? He looks like my stepbrother. He looks like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, he looks like he sells tap out shirts at the MMA shows.
yeah. Khabib striking.
Mm.
And that's not to say that it's go back.
I wish Justin Gaethje just won every fight ever. I wish Justin Gaethje was Khabib's record.
Me too. 1 minute of Khabib fighting like a fish out of water. That'll do it. He looks like he just joined the class.
Yeah. He looks like Matt. He looks like his name's Matt and he got dumped. He's trying to turn his life around. Wow.
Very nice.
Yeah. And then there's just people that are like statisticians that are just going to call, that are going to shit all over this reality of us talking about this.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's ultimately people worship success and performance and money.
Stats.
That's
so fucking annoying.
Stats is how you tap into the mind of
a
Matt.
Fucking retard.
Matt.
It goes 0 to 60 in 2.1 seconds.
Yeah, man.
And you're like, who fucking cares?
Yeah, man.
Who fucking cares?
Yeah, dude.
Fucking guys like, yeah, but it goes 2.1 seconds, 0 to 60.
Yeah.
And you're like, you haven't gotten fucking laid by a woman that loves you in your entire fucking life.
Yeah.
Nice fucking shirt, dickhead.
Yeah, man.
You middle performing fucking, you like not even middle, you get overlooked for middle management. That guy that says that stat,
Yes.
Go fuck yourself.
Can you type in performance casual outfit on Google Images?
Performance casual, yes.
And
you're getting lectured by a guy in an electric blue polo.
Yeah.
With no logo on it that he bought.
Let's see. There's one that's like everybody around us that we know dresses like. I mean, it's essentially, those the shoes that drive me fucking crazy.
I know the one. I'll describe it. It's the one with the white bottoms, right?
Yeah.
It's the hold on. I know who makes them. They're called the Kolhan.
I was about to say Kolhan.
Yeah, they're Kolhan. Yeah, they're Kolhan.
Kolhan.
Oxford. Kolhan Oxford shoes. With the one on the right with the white bottoms. Yep.
Third. Oh, fucking A. Go back to images, Chris. I see the one that I want to kill. Third one.
Yep.
That right there.
Yeah. That guy's telling you that Khabib's perfect. And the Lamborghini's the best.
Yeah.
And like that shit.
and food that comes in a plastic package is okay.
It's
the
good
best to eat.
It's good. Lamborghini Zahura.
Oh my God, man.
I think people obsessed with it's just like find the number one.
Yeah.
Like this is the best.
It's when you're not creative enough to have an identity that's based on anything other than what you think other people's identity is. That's when you're like, oh, best.
Stat.
What's the best?
Yeah, like I personally, like my favorite fights to watch are like Justin Gaethje. Like the guy's just leaving it all out there, getting punched in the fucking face. It's just wonderful to watch this guy fight. He's like tough as nails. It's like, oh my God.
Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, Tony Ferguson. Fucking. Why?
I'll watch Tony Ferguson lose and be happy.
Say he won.
And say he won.
No, he won.
He won.
Out.
Who gives a fucking shit?
Yeah, put glasses on him, make him look cool.
Yeah.
Like I hate that. And that's why I hate. I think that's why sometimes the MMA stuff. Like what happened to Mighty Mouse?
I don't know.
I don't know what happened to him. Mighty Mouse is fun to watch.
Did he get fired? Did he get kicked out?
Demetrius Johnson.
Let me close off the point that I was making.
Yeah.
The reason why boxing is a superior art form to MMA is because MMA you can counter a beautiful, perfect striker with some weird technique. Like if you have a really good calf kick or something, or if you have a good takedown or whatever. It's just there are so many variables. There are so many variables and ways to like suppress the highest. Like if you cut to take the guy that's the most perfected and sophisticated and artful and bring him down to reality. It's like if you could hit people with bricks at MMA.
Yeah.
It would look totally different, right?
That's the next level.
And it would be less of an art form. It would be sensational and people would want to watch it and they'd be like, "Oh, this is great violence," but it would not be as high of an art form.
Yeah.
So that's my point. The reason why boxing is an elevated art form. And I don't like boxing. I don't ever want to do it again. But it's just true that it is more of an art form.
It's the equivalent of like not Shelby Cobra, but a little bit of that, like sheet metal forming.
It's sheet metal forming
with the English hammer, whatever they call that thing.
It's more human.
Yeah, it's human.
It's more human.
It has a pulse and skin and nerves.
And you can go down that like best, like number one route.
Yeah.
You can just do that. Like, what people say is like, no, MMA is real because it's the closest to real. It's the best. It's the closest to real street fighting. And it's like, well, what if I put you in there with a battle bot?
Yeah.
Now it's closer to real. Now it's closer to real because there's no rules. Yeah. What if the guy's a gun? Now there's no rules.
What if the guy's in a Chevy S10?
And I'm being hyperbolic. Well, why don't they allow groin kicks? Why don't they allow headbutts? Oh, for safety. Spitting. Oh, so you're just making. So now it's an arbitrary set of rules, and what it is, it's the arbitrary set of rules that sells the most Bud Light, because Bud Light doesn't want to be sponsoring something where there's groin kicks, right?
Yeah, or battle bots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was real fighting, if it did have headbutts, if it did have groin kicks, if you could soccer kick people, if you could kick people when their hands were on the ground, that would be actual real fighting. But it wouldn't be nearly as much money because the sponsors would say, "Oh, that's barbaric. It's not getting as much views. It's making our brand look bad."
And it would happen in parking lots on iPhones.
Yeah.
And it would say ding ding, and
it wouldn't be Dude Wipes. It would be like some K2 Kratom company sponsoring.
It would be bail bondsmen.
Yeah.
It would be lawyers.
So anyway, that's King of the Streets. That's some. Listen, if you want to counter my argument, by saying that MMA is better than boxing because it's real fighting, you better be watching this. Yeah, because this is actual real fighting.
Yeah, this stuff's fucking
Sorry
crazy.
to tell you.
Yeah. These clips that I see of this shit is like. I mean, look, I'm not a fucking wannabe tough guy or any of that shit, or a wannabe fight commentator, or a wannabe fighter in any aspect of the word. But he's pulling his T-shirt over the guy's head.
Yeah, man.
Like, let's just start there.
I think you can like play with their eyes too in their mouth.
You can play with them, yeah. You can play with their eyes.
You can cover their mouth for a second.
Oh, shit. That guy punched some skin off that guy's forehead.
Oh, just you wait.
Good Lord. Don't these guys, like, I like the ones where, like, that guy on the left wins.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how?
Yeah, that happens, yeah.
Like, how the fuck did you come back from that? I would have been like, nah, I would have been in my car by now. Oh,
Oh, gotta take that shirt off, buddy. Holy shit.
yo.
You can see the blonde guy like in the middle get scared. He's like intimidated by the blood.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's actually harder to probably land a punch because it slips.
Mm.
Well, you got to be a little nerved up when you're like knocking the guy's head in and he's fucking standing there in front of you. I would be weirded out by that.
Yeah, yeah.
I got in a fight one time with a kid and I fucking socked him.
Yeah.
The time I beat the two kids up for Jake.
Yeah.
And I punched this kid dead in the fucking face and he was like still in front of me and I was like, oh shit. Why is he still here? I fucking clobbered that kid. And I was just like, oh no. Whoa.
Holy shit.
Guy looks like a fucking organ or something. It looks like a surgery. Oof. The guy on the left looks like a fucking gym teacher.
Big guy's getting tired.
Wow.
They're both tired, but uh-oh.
Who wins this?
Can we fast forward, Chris, to the three-quarters point?
I know who wins, but...
Oh.
Woo!
No way.
Holy shit.
Is there no like grappling allowed? Is it just striking?
I think they can grapple.
Wow.
I don't know, maybe actually.
I think they can do it. Yeah, they do at the end.
Good lord, bro.
Let's get his feet under him properly.
And they only put one like spotlight to like I think
make it dramatic.
Like it's a street. Like
yeah,
it's like concrete and a street light.
Oh,
wow. I'm honestly in shock. The guy on the left, the gray guy, is doing as well as he is based on the end of this fight.
Mm.
But it's fair. I mean, like, look, he caught him in the beginning, and that's life.
I think it's just energy management. Anybody's dangerous for 30 seconds, but you can't get tired. If you get tired, you're fucked.
Wow.
Mm-mm-mm.
Wow. Wow.
Oof. Holy shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to fuck with that guy ever.
Yeah.
Oh, he broke something. He broke his jaw or something.
So yeah, Under Armour is not going to be sponsoring this one. But that's what real fighting looks like.
Yeesh.